Joining us today, I'm very pleased to welcome to the Northern Miner podcast for this week's Spotlight, Ian Graham, president of Oroco Resource. Ian, welcome to the show.
Hi, Adrian. Thanks for having me.
It's wonderful to have you, Ian. Looks like you're working on some very interesting things in Mexico. For those that are unfamiliar with Oroco Resource, can you tell us a little bit of background about the company and what you are up to?
Certainly. So Oroco was founded in 2006 and has been focused on exploration and development resource projects in Northwest Mexico since that time. Its original involvement was the drilling of a gold deposit in Sonora, which was sold on to a developer and is a mine currently still in production. And we followed that with the commencement of a very long legal action that culminated in 2020 with the acquisition of a majority interest in the Santo Tomás copper deposit, also in northwest Mexico and straddling Sinaloa and Chihuahua borders. So a very compelling project located in an excellent jurisdiction on great infrastructure, and also in a community where people had very strong experience in major mining, in that they had worked at the El Sosal gold mine operated by Goldcorp in the past. So very good knowledge in the region of mining and of the standards and practice of mining. And as a result, some very good social support for mining. And the Santo Tomas project has been the focus of our work since.
Well, it is indeed a mining country, Mexico, isn't it? But it's kind of interesting, though. I mean, the last government, they were starting to sound like they wanted to come down heavier on regulation on mining in the country. How are you finding working in Mexico? Is it challenging right now, or has everything kind of blown over?
So 2 points on that, Adrian. Yes, we've experienced headwinds, particularly in the market, as a result of investor nervousness regarding the direction of the last federal administration under the president widely known as AMLO. 2 points. Our historical rights to develop are protected under the Mexican Constitution, and we have filed all the necessary legal proceedings to protect those rights. But most recently, in fact, as recent as last week, we were visited by a former senator of the federal government and now a congressman, a deputy in the equivalent of the Mexican Congress. And he spent Thursday and Friday of last week with us and has agreed that the project is required for the regional social stability and creation of jobs, and will be championing the project through all the phases to development. And that is an exciting change for us. I think it's a sea change. And he has further posted his support for the project on X and on Facebook, and we'll be further engaging with him in Mexico City, together with the Secretary for the Economy, think Minister of Finance, and the Governor of Sinaloa, with whom we currently have a good relationship, to roadmap the further development of Santo Tomas. And we need that support, both to broadcast to the investment community, to underwrite a little further work that we need to do, which is basically the drilling towards a PFS study and the conversion of some of the Santo Tomas resource into the indicated category. So currently we have part of the resource and indicated. We need to add to that in order to prepare the project for our ultimate aim, which is a transaction with a large developer that would ensure the development of the project.
Okay, excellent. So Santo Tomas is the main flagship project then of the company, and that is in Mexico. Can you tell us a little bit more about it? You said it was a copper project. What have you found, and what do you think is there?
So what we have at Santo Tomas is a very large porphyry copper deposit. And much of the world's copper, the majority of the world's copper currently is produced from porphyry deposits globally. What we've defined at Santo Tomas is a project which is readily buildable at very competitive capital costs, to produce from a large resource. And currently, we would mine some 825 million tons and produce over 5 billion pounds of copper equivalent. And that would be done mining from a resource of 8.5 billion pounds of copper. So the project economics are very good. It's a 1.48 billion US dollar post-tax NPV 8, 22.2 post-tax IRR, so excellent project metrics. And we would be mining 108,000 tons of copper equivalent a year on our project plan against a capex of 1.1 billion US dollars, giving us one of the more compelling capex NPV ratios in the undeveloped porphyry copper space globally. So it's a very, very compelling project. Clearly, a developer would be able to change some of those metrics, mine it a little faster, or make other improvisations that may improve the economics or better suit their global marketing. But in any case, this is a very compelling project. And the reason the capital is so relatively low is that the project is situated on very compelling infrastructure. So we're on road, rail, a Trans-Canada natural gas pipeline with excess capacity that runs right by the project. We're also on hydroelectric offtake locations for the national grid here in Mexico, and we're a short drive, 160 kilometers by road, to Topolobampo, which is an excess capacity deep water port on the Baja coast. So it's a very well-blessed project in terms of its location.
Okay, excellent. And I'm looking at the team here, and they look like they have quite a bit of experience. So, as far as the roadmap, then, how do you see things playing out in, say, like the next 6 months to 2 years, let's say? How do you see things moving forward with the company?
Adrian, I think that period is a very compelling one for us. With the recent engagement by the federal government on our behalf and the continued support of the state government, we're looking to shortly publish a desk prospectus that would allow us to finance in the near term to commence work on the PFS that I referenced previously. The PFS requires between 15 and 20,000 meters of drilling to complete. To date, we have drilled 50,000 meters. So this is certainly on the downhill slope for us in terms of project scope and scale. But with that additional drilling, we'll move the so-called south zone of the project into the indicated category. We'll complete a PFS, further map out some of the geotechnical and geohydrological requirements of the project, all of which we expect to be quite supportive of the current plan, and then do that work ideally by the beginning of next year. And then in the course of early 2026, publish the PFS with an updated resource, and then move the project towards its ultimate transaction, which we would love to see crystallize in 2026, but not everything proceeds at the pace you might best hope of. However, we do expect that by 2027, we should look forward to a very compelling transaction that would greatly benefit the shareholders of Oroco.
Okay, excellent. So, what do you want investors to know about Oroco Resource?
I think, firstly, Adrian, that we are refocused now, given the government support that we have, on moving this project forward in an expedited manner. As you referenced earlier, we have excellent technical leadership under Richard Locke, our CEO, who is a serial project developer, and his record is on time, on budget development. So he brings very, very strong focus and technical credibility to the studies we do. We will also be now focusing on messaging the company and the government support that we have and the exciting near-term catalysts that we are confronting. And so investors can expect renewed support of the company in the broader market. they can expect to see a PFS move forward with a renewed resource, particularly at South Zone. And I believe that we're now poised for a very exciting 6 to 24 months that you previously referenced.
Ian Graham, president of Oroco Resource, thank you for joining us and sharing everything that you're working on at the Santo Tomas project in Mexico.
Thanks very much, Adrian. Thanks for having us.